Here's a hard question to consider. Are you any better emotionally, spiritually, or relationally than you were 1 year ago from today, or 3 years ago, or 5 years ago from today? It's a hard question, right? It's a question I actually ask once a year on my birthday, which is Monday. So it's been on my mind. I've been thinking about it quite a bit. And as I was reflecting on this Sunday's gospel, it's actually the perfect question to reflect on relative to Sunday's gospel. Because an essential quality of being human is that we are made to grow. We're made to expand. Our hearts, our minds, our souls, they're made to expand. They're supposed to grow. One of the reasons why a vocation is so essential to a human person is that vocations demand growth. It's like when you get married to another flawed human being and you have a bunch of flawed kids running around in your life, that's going to demand growth from you. It's not easy. In order to meet the demands and rise to the occasion of your life as a husband or as a wife or as a mom or as a dad, or even as a kid in the midst of a sibling or two or three or four or six, you have to grow. You have to expand your ability to love and be loved in order to be in harmony with yourself and with God and with other people. In order to be happy, you have to grow. And so that's one of the great challenges of life is to actually grow. Because so many people over the course of their lives, they realize too late that their suffering is due to the fact that they stopped growing. That their life focus ended up being on all these ancillary things, and that who they are on the inside is essentially exactly who they were on the inside, and their capacity on the inside, the capacity of their heart, the capacity of their soul is exactly the same as it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's like the 36-year-old who's married and has kids and is completely overwhelmed by life. And they realize that they're completely overwhelmed because they have the same emotional, spiritual, relational maturity of a 16-year-old, that they just stopped growing, and that a 16-year-old never was meant to be able to handle a couple of kids, a marriage, a mortgage, and all that stuff. They were never meant to handle it, so of course it's overwhelming. That's why growth is so essential. That's why growth is so important. When you dig into the Gospels, when you dig into the Bible, when you dig into the story of how God operates with people, especially when you dig into this gospel, you realize that part of what Jesus was doing in fulfilling the law was really challenging the people of his time and us to grow. So what does Jesus say in today's gospel? He's like, okay, when he's questioned about divorce, he says, okay, yeah, Moses told you that divorce was okay, that a husband can just give a bill of divorce to his wife, and that can be that. That's totally fine. But now I tell you that that's because of the hardness of your heart. So what's Jesus saying? Jesus is saying, and Jesus is essentially saying, like, it's time for you to grow. It's time for you to mature. You can handle the harder teaching. You can handle the more difficult task. And so as you go to reflect on this Sunday, as you go to enter into this Sunday's gospel, what I want you to think about, which I want to challenge you to reflect on, is what area of your life do you know you need to grow in? Emotionally, spiritually, relationally, professionally. What area do you know you need to grow in, but you're resistant to do so? And in what way do you think is Jesus challenging you to become stronger or better or more virtuous or more capable so that you can grow more and more into the person God made you to be? I think that's a really worthy reflection going into this weekend. Another one is to go into Sunday thinking, like, how have I grown in the last year, 3 years, 5 years? And in what area do I absolutely need to grow in 1 year from now? May God bless you, and remember, you're made to do hard things.